In other words, bringing people has rewards. Now, we're not trying to brag today, but we really appreciate it because this mission is so important that we're here to bring resources and information furthering the cause of business success in our community. And this is playing out our mission online about making sure that we provide the resources because really we're in some key times right now, almost like no other. People are going out, starting companies for the first time. Matter of fact, I was in an Uber the other day, and the guy that was driving, he said, man, how you doing, brother? How's things going? He said, I just started my own business. I said, that's great. I'm excited. He said, yeah. I couldn't take it anymore. I don't want anybody to tell me what to do. I understand that, brother. He said, I'm my own man. Nobody's going to tell me what to do. I said, man, I really appreciate it. Now shut up and take the next level. But somebody's going to always tell you what to do. Even when you're a business owner. Matter of fact, when you're a business owner, people say, I don't want a boss. When you're a business owner, you got like 10 bosses. All those clients. Anyway, so we have no birthday. All right. This is also African American Music Appreciation Month. All right, any musicians in the house? A different group today, okay? Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month. Pride Month. And PTSD Month. Effective Communication Month. I'm just going to quickly just talk about communication. Then I'm going to get our speaker up here for today. Also, for everybody who's wondering, Ms. Diamond Drift is going to be presenting today. Communication, because it is so important to communicate. Really, many of the world's problems can be solved if people could just communicate. And many of your business challenges will be solved if you embrace effective communication. Just give you some quick tips. Be clear and concise when you communicate. You don't have to get into a long story and go all the way back when I was walking in, I lived in a broadcast and walk 5 miles to. Sometimes that's nice, but you can crack me over here. You trying to get me off the thing. Now you said, practice what you preach, right?
No, we can relate.
She can relate, okay. She can relate, okay. Got a witness back here. Active listening. What does that mean? Don't just listen to wait for your turn. Pay attention. Listen to what the person is saying. Be active about it. Show empathy. I know what you're going through. I've been there. Nonverbal communication. What does that mean? Your hand movements, nodding, leaning forward in your chair. Feedback. Two-way dialogue. That's communication. Using the appropriate tone. Sometimes requires to be more assertive, sometimes requires to be low-key. Tailoring your message to your audience. There's a young lady on Sirius XM, I think her name is Reese Colbert. She was on CNN the other day. But she's a MC person on Sirius XM. And when she's on Sirius XM, she's cursing like a sailor. I mean, every other word is MF this and MF that, and I said, whoa, she didn't leave the room. But she was up there on CNN, man, she was like a choir girl. So she toned her message based on the audience. And we have to do that sometimes. That's called effective communication. And last thing I want to say about asking questions. Do ask questions. When you're not sure what to do, get in that question lane. Somebody asks you a tough question, or somebody comes with you in a difficult situation, ask those questions. All right, I'm gonna get ready to get over here. I'm gonna bring up our special guest for today. I think it's important to communicate. As a matter of fact, we have this information technology generational gap sometimes, where the communication can sometimes get lost. My daughter one day came and she walked past and I said, hey daughter, can you give me a phone book? She said, Dad, you so old fashioned. We don't use phone books anymore. Here, use my cell phone. So I took a cell phone. Hate to say that didn't work out. Because first of all, it took me twice as long to kill that spider. And now I owe her a phone. Communication. All right, let's get, thank you again. I'm going to bring up our special guest today, Ms. Diamond Tripp. She's a heavy. I was looking at her LinkedIn account. She said, helping soul-led entrepreneurs stop self-sabotaging and start trusting themselves. You still believe that, right?
I do.
What do you think about that? That's you, right? It makes sense. Stop self-sabotaging and start trusting yourself. Now, Diamond is, she's spoken before once before. She's been on my radio show, on Radio 1, The Marketing Pulpit. And there's a reason she's back, because we had such an outpouring of appreciation. And some people just gotta get back. You need more. I'm not gonna try to tell her whole story. Matter of fact, I'm gonna get out the way. And without further ado, let's give a big round of applause to Miss Diamond Tripp.
Hi. I am Diamond Tripp, as Mr. Gatewood said. I want to make sure, does everyone have one of these little pamphlet flyer things? All right, awesome. So this is 3 surprising blocks to success that have nothing to do with strategy. I am very excited that the name brought a lot of you in, because we know different. The first question that I want to start with, and I love that Mr. Gatewood led with communication and that sense of curiosity. I want to encourage you to keep that open mind and open heart today as we go through today's materials. And the first question to that tune is, what if what you think is a block is actually protection? We're gonna kind of carry that theme throughout today. And we're gonna talk about 3 of the biggest blocks that I see when I work with entrepreneurs, coaches, speakers, people who are wanting to leave a job and start their own business. These are the 3 biggest blocks. Before we do that, I understand that we had to commute here. This wasn't on Zoom, which is, a lot of my workshops are on Zoom. So I want to take a moment to actually have us land in the space, to actually notice your breath, because that's a lot of the work that I do with my clients, is getting them to take notice. Because so many times we're just busy, going. What's the next thing on the to-do list? That we don't take the time to just stop and breathe. And if you're doing that, then that's amazing. You're my friend. I love it. So, let's first just take a moment to just notice your breath. We're not going to change it in any way. We're just going to notice it. If you want to, you can put your hand on your heart and feel how slow or how fast it's beating. But just notice. What is your body telling you in this moment? Thank you for indulging me. And that sacred pause is what I like to call it, where we just take that moment to notice. I want to direct your attention to a question in your pamphlet. This top question right here. If you don't have a pen or a pencil or something to write with, Ms. Kim has got you in the back, so I encourage you to do that. But the question that is waiting for you there, I just want you to answer the first one, is what's something you've been trying to feel stuck. Does anyone want to share? I know it's a bit early for me to be accepting volunteers. We haven't even warmed up for them. Anyone want to share though? It's fine. Okay.
I wrote down 3 things.
Okay.
Okay. One is my business, so I call it coach. One is financial abundance. All of those are in progress. But at times it feels like, yeah, we're just stuck in the mud.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Okay, I'll share. Try being honest. Yes. Yes. I was like, and I have one more hand. Thank you.
I guess moving forward in business, we're in the financial services business and just trying to educate our people on things. And so having faith in trying to have faith in myself, thinking like, I don't know when I'm gonna make a mistake, but I don't need to know everything. I can share the information. And then wanting to take care of everyone by sharing the information and everyone not receiving all things.
Yes. Thank you for your shares. They sound like things that I hear, but also that Ms. Bernadette hears in her 7:30, not that early, not 7 a.m., 7:30 a.m. Thursday law of attraction call that many of us attend. And I want to really today spend some time, like I said, talking about 3 blocks that I see, and I want to help you remove those blocks because each and every one of those blocks that you shared, or maybe that you didn't share, I really believe that these things that I will share with you today will help you clear those, or at least, right, start the process because we are in progress here. So the first block that we're going to be talking about is around emotional safety. So many of you, especially with some of the blocks that you've shared, you probably feel that feeling of you've done all the right things, you've done the vision boards and the affirmations, you planned the strategy. A lot of us are using ChatGPT now. It's quick to come up with a strategy for an idea that we have. But with all of the things that we're doing that feel right or that logic says are right, I want to take a moment and acknowledge that what if there's a part of you that doesn't actually feel safe having the thing? Our inner child is not just a memory that we have, I believe. It's an energetic imprint that lives in us and sometimes speaks a little louder in moments where we're a little triggered, to say the least. And I want you to look at that voice not as an annoyance or not as resistance, but maybe just protection and finding what does that part of you need. I'm gonna have you feel into another question, and if you want to, I encourage you to close your eyes, because when we close off one of our senses, it actually helps us to feel our other senses. So, when you think about the current goal that you're trying to manifest, where do you feel the tension in your body? Or it might be lightness, it might be, I do have a little body scan for feelings. I have something, actually I think I was able to fit everything. I have this exact, doesn't look like this, but this exact body scan in my Notion. I don't know if any of you have heard of Notion. It's like a productivity app where you can create these different notes. And I have a Notion because even though I'm pretty tapped into my emotions, sometimes I'm feeling a lot at once. And I'm like, what is that? And I just need to do a body scan to figure out where that is and what is it trying to tell me. So I do have the note that I use to help you kind of feel. When you think of your current goal, when you think of that resistance that you're feeling, that block that you're experiencing, where do you notice in your body that you feel that? Just want you to take a moment. If you want to, you can circle these are yours. And I want you to consider what might that sensation be trying to tell you. I do have on the bottom, depending on where you're feeling it, there are some common themes of what you might be experiencing. And I want to ask, because I'm curious, if that sensation had a younger voice, what do you think it would say? So you can either answer that question, or if you feel comfortable because you had this guide sharing what you felt. I always love knowing where things show up in people's body, because one of the modalities that I am intrigued by, I wouldn't say studying actively, is Reiki. Many of us have heard Reiki, so knowing where to pinpoint those places and clear out the body. So I love hearing when things show up in your body. Do I have any brave volunteers? Are we warmed up enough? Yes.
Okay, so I'm mostly always feeling my back, which already know me support. And that is the area for me that is lacking. And we know that. And sometimes it's tightness.
Like upper back? Lower
No, it's my lower back.
Lower back, yes.
I have back. I have herniated disc in my back. That's where it centralizes. Okay, lower back. So I'm aware of it. And when it happens, I do have my own processes that I do to clear it so that I don't sit in that energy. But I'm always aware of it, and it's been there for a while. Maybe a while, I say, maybe more than a year or so. Okay. And like I said, everything is in progress. So I have faith. Okay. Bernadette's keeping us on track. So I have faith. I go for a check. And it's coming. But I still notice at times, when you're looking at things, right now I'm trying to rebrand, and so every time I'm touching something with the business, it happens. I can feel the sensation in my body.
Thank you. Yes, lower back, that's a common one. Do you remember, I feel like you came to the workshop, do you remember what your design was? At all? Okay, so, I saw, thank you for sharing that. We'll get into that in section 3, but I was curious. I saw another hand briefly pop up. Did it go away? Okay. When we think about emotional safety, one of the things that I think can be helpful is understanding what unconscious agreements you're holding. And what I mean by that, one of my favorite questions to ask now is, has anyone heard or read the book, The 4 Agreements? Okay, got some hands. I know it's from, okay, beautiful. So we've got a mix. Some people have heard of it, some people have read it. And I bring that up because in the introduction of that book, there's this process called domestication. And it talks about how we internalize rules from our parents, from teachers, from society, and often those rules that we learned, they conflict. And we have this, the book refers to it as this victim, judge, and rule book. And you start to, once you really get into silence and noticing your thoughts, you start to notice that the thoughts and the beliefs that bring you the most, the book calls it suffering. I want to think of a friendlier word for it than that right now, but I can't, and I'm gonna move on. And so The victim is the one that asks the types of questions like, why did this happen to me? Why now? Why this? And the judge is the one who comes in very quickly a lot of times and answers that victim consciousness and is like, well, because you did this and so did that and this happened and this. And then they're referencing this rule book of shoulds. Anytime that I find myself living in this should space, I very quickly have trained myself to get into where is that coming from? Which voice is that? What rule book did I learn that in? And one of my favorite questions is asking myself, where did that voice come from? And if it is from someone who is not successful, then that is something that I need to release, because that officially qualifies as something that no longer serves me. So I want to take a moment and have you reference your pamphlet again, because there's a question in there, and I want you to get curious. What is a belief you inherited about success, love, or money that might still be shaping your behavior? I'll give some examples as you're Googling. Some of the big ones are don't ask for too much. Many of us have heard that. Good people don't need money.
Good people don't do what?
Good people don't need money. Like, yeah, that's one that I heard in a lot of religious circles. Success means sacrifice. And mine, I think a lot of us have heard it, but we don't always realize in the moment that we're internalizing it and making it true for us. But you have to work twice as hard just to be considered as good enough. I see some of you writing, some of you are finished. I'm curious, what types of beliefs have you, yes, Sophia?
Money is the root of all evil.
Yes, we've heard that one.
Money gives you option.
You said you think that, or is that a belief you inherited?
That's right. Money gives you option.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
You go to school, work hard, get a degree, and you'll be well off. You're still waiting.
Right. Yes. Yes. That's one that I bought into for a little while there. Yeah.
She said, it's like that the job or a job is your only source to abundance, because that's what you get a good job, especially in the government, and you retire well, and that was the point.
Yes. Oh my gosh, even, because I remember somewhere in my, thank you for adding that. I remember somewhere, my mom used to work for the DMV. And so my grandparents who migrated here from the South, and they were born in the 20s, they were like, yes, they promoted that message. Like, get a good government job, benefits and things. And then we look now.
They're being laid off.
Anyone else want to share your beliefs they inherited? Yes.
Nothing comes easy.
What was that out there?
Nothing comes easy.
Oh.
Yes. I love that Miss Bernadette Clay spends so much time talking about dismantling these. That's a big one that I know we all feel on Thursdays. I want you, I don't know if you took up that whole little mini space. I decided not to give lines this time, so in case you want to leave some room. But if you do have space, I want to encourage you, if you've already released it, what are you now choosing to believe? Or if you heard something today and you're like, oh, you know what, that might actually be true for me, claim that and say, what do you want to believe instead, and write it down if you have one. If you don't have one, there's one on the pages of the paper. I love making these in
and gotten into the 1099.
Yes. Claiming new mindsets, claiming new beliefs. The spark. Yes. If you want one, Miss Kim has one. Yes.
My foundation scripture right now is with God, all things are possible. The one is that, there was limitation, but not one anymore. All things are possible.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait for us to introduce ourselves so that people can find.
And I'm sorry, I didn't hear any of that, maybe it's me,
Oh, scripture.
I said scripture, with God, all things are possible.
Yes.
Say that again.
With God, all things are possible.
Say that again.
Right? Okay, so we've done some talk about the first two blocks, which emotional safety and unconscious beliefs. And now we get to the solutions part of today. It's one of my favorite parts. So, the third block is typically a misalignment with your energy. And I use a tool called human design, and it teaches us that we all have a unique energy blueprint. Your type shows you how you're designed to move through your world. Your strategy is how you interact. And your authority is how you make decisions. I've left us a lot of time, so I feel strongly that we're gonna be able to talk about all three, and maybe even the bonus one that I have. But really quickly, before I have you do anything, just so you can kind of start wrapping your mind around this tool. Your type shows you how you're designed to move through the world. And so there are 5 energy types. You have generators who they are here, they have so much energy for work, especially when they're responding to something that's lighting them up. Manifesting generators have that same kind of Energizer Bunny flair, just it's a hybrid energy. So because it has 2 energy types, they can do a little bit more things. They can be a little bit more multi-passionate, and a little bit faster. They look faster on the outside. And they have this strategy for finding success through informing those who are going to be affected by their decisions as they respond to what is lighting them up. Projectors are wise guides, and their strategy for success is to wait for the invitation, to nurture themselves, to nurture their skills, their mastery, which doesn't always look like the traditional 9-to-5 work. Sometimes that looks like laying in deep meditation for 3 hours, waiting for downloads. But to nurture their own energy and wait for the right invitations from the right people, they'll know that decision-making thing that we're gonna talk about, they'll know who those people are, so that they can then use their energy for things that are going to take them where they want to go. Manifestors are our initiators, and their strategy, because they have so much of that innovative, creative, non-verbal flow action happening, they could just spend hours creating and doing a bunch of little small projects and bringing these things to life. But we know that we don't live in caves by ourselves. So there are things like family, friends, work that we have to let know and form so that we can be our most creative selves without interruption from that creative flow. So those are our manifestors. And then our last one that we're gonna be talking about, I'm always curious to see if we have it in the room. The energy type is called the reflector. And so this is a mirror for the environment. These are people who, they come in a room, and if that room is feeling good, then they're gonna take that energy in and they're gonna amplify it back out to that room. And you can feel that energy. And the same can be said if it's not a good space and they're taking in bad energy. Everyone there might feel a little bit, because they're amplifying whatever energy is already in the room, they're just reflecting it back to that room. And so their strategy because they're always taking in so much energy anywhere they go, they have to create a lot of space for integration. So when they're making those really big decisions, usually and this applies to all of them, the big decisions are friendships, relationships, if you're about to move, and career. So those are usually the big four. And so for reflectors, waiting a full lunar cycle is really aligning for them, the full 28 days, to integrate, to feel into different spaces, to take in the energy information needed to make the right choice for them. So, on the back of your pamphlet, there's a QR code, and it says it's time to dive deep into your themes. And I'd like you to scan that QR code, and I'd like you to pull your unique energetic blueprint. And as you're doing that, I want to state that when you experiment with following your design, it's called an experiment because everything we're taught is not always something as we learned, our inherited beliefs, something that was meant for us. So this is going to give you insight into your unique energy. And so when you are following your design in a way that is in alignment to who you truly are, not who you learn to be, you're going to experience some signature emotional themes, depending on your, we all experience all of these, but especially depending on what type you have. So those themes are satisfaction, success, peace, or surprise. When you don't follow your design, when you hold up what we call sometimes that social mask a little too long, you feel those not self emotional themes of frustration, bitterness, anger, disappointment. So I see a lot of you are still putting in your details, and one of the biggest questions that I normally get is, what if I don't know my time of birth? And to that, I will say, as long as you know within 12 hours, 12 a.m. or 12 p.m., you're good. The more specific you can be, the better, because you want to get insight into all of your gifts. And some of the blueprints that I've looked at, they change within a matter of 4 hours if the time is not correct. So I would say 12 a.m. or 12 p.m. to be safe. If you can be as close as within 4 hours, that's better, but make sure at the end of the day. If something in you sparks that curiosity, is like, I want to learn more about this, I would say look at your birth certificate. Ask mom. Those are things. Does everyone at least have their chart pulled up so far? I see you working, I see you looking at it at your phones, but we're there?
I'm sorry to ask this question, but
Yeah.
this is some specific data. What will be done with this? Like, they ask for your home birthday and everything. What will be done with this?
So, yes, awesome question. So this data is just going to be compiled to create a chart. So how you would put your birth date in to see if you were like a Cancer or Zodiac or something like that. Like that, the actual system, if you want to, because I know you're a legal lady, the actual system that houses the information is called My Body Graph. And so it actually just stays in the system for 90 days so that I can reference charts, you can get reports and things from the system, and then it actually clears. I don't even have access after 90 days. I'm like, this is not comforting her. And then I was like, and then it gets away for 90 days.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what I want.
Yes. Beautiful. Any other questions? Are we all on the screen? I know we may not necessarily know what we're looking at with the chart, but I want to make sure we're all there. Yes. Okay, cool. Can I just get like a hands up so I know I'm not talking to the void? Like, if you have your chart, can you raise your hand? Okay. Okay, so some people are still working. That's fine. You guys are reading. You're like, what? This chart has my energetic blueprint, and you don't expect me to read the words that I'm reading?
It's like a machine.
Okay. Well, I mean, we hear all the time, humans are complex beings. You know? That chart matches that. Okay, cool. We're all there. We're just reading a little bit about ourselves. That's fine. So, let's talk a little bit about these in greater detail. So, I always like to know who is in the room with me. Where are my generators? The word only says generator. Should make that generator. If you have manifesting generator, please raise your hand. Yes. I know Ms. Bernadette is a manifesting generator. That's what I was like, I need to be clear. Projectors. Any projectors? I see you, projector. I'm wise guy.
The only one?
Yes. I'll get into why that is in a moment. Manifestors. I thought you were a manifester.
For me, yeah, I'm looking for my blueprint right now. I didn't know about oxygen generator.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Just generate idea. I think I remember you being a manifester or a manifesting generator. Unicorns. Any reflectors in the room? Okay. So generators and manifesting generators make up about 70% of the population. So many of us have that little energizer bunny, go, go, go. I'm a generator, actually. Generators and manifesting generators make up 70%. Projectors make up about 20%. Manifestors, about 9%. And our reflectors, which is why I call them unicorns, are like 1%, less than 1%. And the way that in this moment, I'm like, I should have a visual so that I can show you, but you're holding it in front of you, so we're gonna rock with this. So on your chart, you see there's a square at the bottom, and then there's a square right above that. Most of you will have that square colored in. You're gonna see numbers like 5, 29, 14. You guys see what I'm talking about? Thumbs up if you see what I'm talking about. Cool. No. On your actual energetic blueprint chart.
Well,
Yes. It says like 5, 14, you see some little numbers in there. So that energy center, I don't need a visual because I can describe it. I've seen this chart many times. We love it. So that energy center is called your sacral center. And that is a center, many of us have heard of it, we're familiar with chakras, of like that creative life force energy, that vitality. And that's where that energizer bunny, go, 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 kind of able to sustain long hours of work comes from. As I mentioned at the beginning, when generators are doing work that they love, when they're doing something that when it's presented to them, it makes them go, oh yes, that feels good. Or even like, yeah, that makes sense for me. It's something that your body tells you, not your mind. It's that gut feeling, intuition, some people call it, that says, yes, this feels aligned for me. It also can tell you no. And many of us know that, right? We've heard the phrase, immediately no. Someone says something and we're like, it's not for me. If you have this center defined, that's how you make your best decisions, is by listening to that sensation. I was gonna say voice, but that sensation coming from your body. The projectors, reflectors, and that, sorry, so real quick on the sacral, manifesting generators and generators, to be clear, have that. Projectors, reflectors, and manifestors don't have that, right? You don't have color in that area. Yes. So, what that means, when you don't have, so, come back up. When you have color in an area, this is energy that you radiate outward. This is energy that when you walk into a room, these gifts are felt or noticed, maybe not always voiced, but they're there. When you don't have color in a center, when that center is white, that's an area where you take in information. Yes. Yes. When you don't have color in an area, when that center is white, you take in energy from your environment. The reflectors that I was talking about, all of their energy centers are white. That's kind of one of the reasons why they're like a little unicorns in that way. When you don't have that energetic buffer there, because that's what also definition does, is it gives you an energetic buffer, a way to filter what's you and what's the world. But when you don't have that filter, it can be kind of hard to understand or discern, is a better word, what's my energy and what's somebody else's. And so I feel like a lot of your life, you try to keep up with generators, especially in work environments that were made for generators, right? They're able to do these long hours of work and they're not burning out, and you're like, does this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To some degree, yeah.
To some degree. And so at any given time, your sacral is taking in, you're borrowing that energy. And that's why sometimes when with any of your open centers, it can feel really aligned when you're, got distracted. When you get in your own energy, sometimes that energizer bunny, like go, 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 it kind of wears out. And then it's kind of up to you to like keep doing whatever the thing is. Does that make sense? Yeah.
And so, like, I've realized that over a period of years with my career, because, like, as a registered nurse, like, I love what I do, you know, love taking care of patients. Over a period of time, it was such a burnout. So that same job that I used to love going to now, it's like I have to build up the curtain. So, yeah, I can see where after a while it was like, yeah.
Yes. I wasn't going to pass this out, but I do think I'm going to now because I think it's going to be helpful. This little graph that I'm showing you is an outline of sorts of the graph that you're looking at. And it has some questions on there. Thank you. It has some questions on there to help you kind of gauge the energy that you're processing in the center.
Thank you.
And so I'm gonna walk and talk as I do this. So you'll see that top triangle, and I'm gonna get more copies. I'm just walking and talking as I do this. That top triangle has a question. And it is, am I trying to answer everyone else's question? If you have a white center in that area, and you are a generator, because most of us in here are generators, you will find yourself in a lot of frustration trying to answer everyone else's questions. I gave you one.
So can I ask you a question? I didn't get lost.
Okay.
You have manifesting generators and generators?
Yes.
Okay.
Manifesting
So when
generators
you're
are
saying-
hybrid.
So when you're saying, am I a generator, are you talking about a manifesting generator or any kind of generator, or can they go through?
So I'm getting very specific with the language that I say. So,
Okay.
did someone raise their hand and said not getting one? Thought I saw that. So there are 5 energy types. Your energy type does not change. So you are a generator, you are a manifesting generator, which is a hybrid energy of generator and manifester. But those are 2 different energy types on their own.
Manifesting generator and generator are 2 different.
Yes.
Got it. Okay. That's where I was getting lost.
What are you?
Manifesting generator.
Yes, so you're a hybrid.
I'm what?
Yes.
What's it, manifesting generator?
A hybrid energy.
Hybrid.
Yes.
And the generator is what?
Generators, so this is a bit on the nerdy side, and Sophia, I
Hey,
will.
we're all nerds.
No,
Okay.
no, I mean that, and I wasn't going to talk talk about this because as you can imagine, this is a really, like, there's a lot of things in it. So essentially what the difference is between a manifesting generator and a generator. Generators have that sacral definition, that second to last square that's on the chart, that's colored in. That is what makes you a generator. When your throat, so that third, I can't show this little tiny shape, but that third center, that square, so you have your triangle that's facing up, your triangle that's facing down, and then there's a square.
You want to hold the phone?
Even that is too small.
Is it?
Yeah, but if you want to hold up your phone and point and say, is this right? I will let you know that you're looking at the right thing. My attempt, because I know sometimes the projector doesn't work, I was like, I want to go like, you know, non-digital. And of course, I need visuals. But that square is your throat center. And so what you'll notice if you're a manifesting generator, there are all those lines that are connecting. Some connect all the way, some are kind of just hanging out. If you are a manifesting generator, you have a line that connects from their sacral all the way to the throat. It might be one of the smaller centers, it might be the sacral itself, but you have some sort of pathway, if you will, to the throat. And that is what gives you that extra oomph of energy as manifesting generators. Okay, yes. Quick clarity check-in, because I want to move on to the next thing I want to talk about, but I want to make sure we're all good with that, the energy type. Okay. Am I losing anybody? You can be honest. Okay. Yes. So what I'm doing, I'm a 5-line. Let's be clear, Darren. Expectations. So what we're talking about right now is simply to clear that last block of your misalignment with energy. And so I want you to know, how do opportunities present themselves to you? And how can you respond to them in a way that is your own? So those are the two main things that I want to talk to you about. And then I will go into the intricacies of the chart and things like that. But I want you to at least leave with those two things, like, clear. So we just talked about energy types. And every type has a strategy, if you will. I kind of used the language already, but I'll officially solidify it, and it's solidified for you on your actual chart. But your strategy, if you are a generator or a manifesting generator, is to respond. The only difference with that strategy is that manifesting generators are well served to just let somebody know when you're about to do something so that you can have all of the time and all of the space that you need to create and do all of the wonderful things that manifesting generators do. And you're not asking for permission. You're just giving a heads up so that you can be uninterrupted. Because I don't know if you've noticed this as manifesting generators in the room, when you're doing something, when you're loving it, when you're in the flow, when you're in passion, it's almost like, hey, what are you doing? You gotta stop, you gotta explain what you're doing. Then by the time you get back to it, it's like, I don't even know what I was talking about. It's because manifesting generators and manifestors have that creative nonverbal flow. It actually takes energy for them to come up with the words to describe what they're doing, because it's a feeling. We are feeling beings. I don't know if any of you listen to the work of Abraham Hicks, but we are vibrational beings, and so our vibration, which someone did peek ahead, I think is you, to the chart, the vibrational chart. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And so our vibration means everything. We are vibrational beings. We're taught the logic and the 10-point presentations and things, but we know sometimes there are things that happen to us that we just feel are true in our bodies. We don't have an explanation for it. I'll give you a prime example. I had a feeling, it's a manifestation, but also a feeling that I was going to get a spot in the front today, because I am starting to embrace the belief, law of attraction, that everything always works out for me. And at some point, not right now, I want you to actually look out the window and see a wrapped car, that's my car, in the front, We are vibrational beings. Not everything that we feel always makes sense. There are several times where I don't get that spot. But I had the feeling that everything was gonna work out for me, and I claimed that for myself. And law of attraction worked its way to bring those things to fruition. So our vibration means everything. So that's the strategy. Oh, right, manifesting generators, responding, inform. Projectors, which, did we get any manifestors or reflectors? Because I'll just speak to what's in the room for time's sake. So just the projectors, manifesting generators, cool. Beautiful. So for our projector in the room, again, nurturing yourself, taking care of yourself, making sure that when the opportunity presents itself, you're ready energetically, financially, like all of the resource categories, you're ready to feel into whatever your authority is. Not sure, we'll talk about that. To decide if that's the right opportunity for you. Decision-making authority is actually called your inner authority. Many of you already saw it, you guys were reading. So there are 7 authorities, and I want to take a moment to see what we have in the room, because I do see that I am not necessarily running out of time, but I want us to have time to network as well. So I want to just get a feel for what's in the room right now. Sacral authority. So on your, right, where do we find that? On your down, like below the chart part, there are words. So you're gonna see type, strategy, definition probably, but you're gonna see something that says inner authority. Do we see inner authority? Right, where do we find it? I'm used to having slides and doing this all right. My bad. Oh no, I'm familiar, I've looked at it a bunch of times. I just, without my slides, I forget to ask if you know where I'm talking about. So we have sacral, I know that for sure. Emotional authority? Yes. Yeah. Hi, I also have emotional authority. And my projector, what is your authority?
It says inner authority?
Yes, it says inner authority.
Oh, emotional.
Emotional. Okay, so I'll just be talking about 2 authorities today.
Sacral.
Sacral. Yes. So, like I said, I'm tailoring this workshop to the people who are in the room, but if you are curious about the other authorities, when you pulled your chart, I sent you a cheat sheet. Like it's a little 14-page ebook that actually explains more about the system that I'm talking about. So for the sake of talking about the energy that's in the room, the sacral authority, I've spoken to it, but I want to actually claim it so that you know what you're tapping into. So if you have sacral authority, you have that gut level, or Many of us were trained out of that natural, sacral, guttural sound because we were told that it was rude. You don't answer somebody with or use words. But what I'm gonna encourage you to do, even if you don't wanna do it vocally, is to acknowledge that or that initially comes up for you. Because typically, for sacral authority beings, whatever that first response is your response. Then the mind comes online, it's like, but this, but that, I wanna contribute. They volunteered last time, I should do it this time. And then you override your sacral authority. And what was the not self thing? Frustration? For my emotional authority people, like I said, I have emotional authority, and we feel all the feels. All the time. A lot of the time. We have access to the full spectrum of emotions, and we oftentimes feel multiple things at once. And because, let me for a quick second talk about how powerful emotional authority is. So we all know how powerful the mind is. We've been talking a lot about beliefs today. What we think immediately becomes a belief, and that then rules our life. So on your actual chart, those top 2 triangles, facing up and facing down, that's your ajna and your crown up there. And that, both of them, are interchangeably used lot of times. So you would think that if you have definition in that area, then like that's gonna be your authority, because like the mind is very powerful. So if you have emotional authority, when you look at your chart, you're gonna see two big triangles on either side of that sacral center we were just talking about. The triangle on your right side, it will have numbers like 22, 36, 6, 30, those numbers. That is your emotional solar plexus. And when you have definition in that area, even if you have mental definition up there, your solar plexus becomes your authority. Your solar plexus, your feelings, become your decision-making authority, not logic. Yeah.
So I can see where that can kind of hinder my business, because sometimes like you get that personal and you're like,
Yes, so I'll speak to that. So yes, I just wanted us to get a feel for how powerful the emotional solar plexus is. And as I mentioned, you feel all the feelings, sometimes all at once. And so what is best decision-making process for people with emotional authority is to, at a minimum, especially with those big four, friendships, relationships, if you're about to move in career, sleep on it. Ride the wave. And I actually encourage people with emotional authority to track your emotions. Track them throughout the day, track them throughout the week. See what your pattern is. When are your high days? When are your low days? I started doing that, right? Practice what you preach. And what I've noticed is that I have 5 days in like elevated, kind of like I'm creative, I'm flowing, right? Doing all the things on top of the world. And then I have 2 baseline days where I'm integrating all of the beautiful things that I just thought about and created. And then I don't like calling it the low phase, but like if you look on the wave thing, but I call them reflective. So 5 days elevated, 2 baseline, 5 days reflective, and then 2 baseline to integrate all the reflection that I was doing. I just so happen to have a flow that follows the week and weekend thing. So usually when I start the week, I know, is this an elevated week for me, or is this a reflective week for me? And then of course, as women, we have to also think about the luteal phase, ovulation phase, in those phases, and then we have more calculations to do. We got all the things. But at least I know what my emotional wave is, so then I can factor in these other things with that understanding. Some people, with their emotional wave, take a day. Some people, it takes weeks. That is why tracking your wave is what I recommend. Because when you are able to, especially if you're a generator, when your sacral says yes, is your other triangle? No, your heart was defined. Your little tiny triangle was defined.
the small one.
Yes. Okay, cool. So, for generators, when your sacral says yes to something, it just means ride your wave. Make sure it's still a yes the next day. If you know your wave, ride it for that amount of days, obviously. But if it's still a yes, if it's still a yes the next day, then it's likely a yes for you. If it's a yes one day, and then it's a no the next day, it's probably a no or not right now. And the reason why I brought up your tiny triangle is because you don't have that consistent access to your sacral. So your desire is going to be really important for you. The willpower is a center of a lot of desire, a lot of speaking what's true, what's your truth. It's also so you had to define growth as well. So making sure, because whatever energy you enter that situation with is going to be the energy that you have with it. And I have a perfect example that I am living through right now. I have an event coming up on the 28th of this month at Martin's Crosswinds. And when that opportunity was presented, it was not the right time for me to agree to put on a summit, because I'm co-hosting it with 6 other ladies. But it was what the program called for, which I didn't ride my wave about the program either. So the whole entire time of this event, my wave has been up and down. I'm in it all in, doing exactly, well, all the time I'm doing exactly what they're asking, because I'm like, at least I'm gonna do that. because I'm in charge of the marketing and the websites and the copy and things. So I'm like, I can do that. But the feel, the connection as a vibrational being to it, it's been a little up and down, especially because playing with 6 other women and a guy who's a manifested generator and is already doing a bunch of things is not stressless. So those are your authorities. So sacral is kind of that in the moment, that instinct, yes or no. Don't let your mind cloud what your body is feeling. And emotional authority, it starts with that yes or no, and then just ride your wave about it. Make sure that it's still a yes. Or if it's a maybe, then it's called authority for a reason. I gotta get back to you on that, right? You have a decision. My favorite thing is, these flash sales that we always, because we live in a society of instant gratification. So there's always flash sale this, buy now this, and some of them may be like 3 days. If your wave is in 3 days, and if at the end of that, you're still not sure, release the belief that you're gonna miss an opportunity. Because we know, and we've heard, that what's meant for me will never miss me. So we know this to be true. Checking on time. Okay, so I want to close with this and then open for Q&A. The universe isn't just responding to your words. Our words are powerful. Our words are spells, actually, for agreements reference.
Your what?
Our words are spells.
I thought it said so.
Yeah. It's responding to your nervous system as the vibrational beings that we are. And so when your body isn't on board, that's the feedback loop that you're sending. And it creates friction. So on the inside of the pamphlet that we put in reference today, I put together a few things. I feel like most of you will have lines, and I encourage you to use the lines on the person to write where you feel certain things in your body at some other point. I know we've been doing a lot of reflection and looking at our bodies today. There's also an affirmation there for you. I want you to keep this, so I tried to put as many good things together here that would help you to do that. And then there's a QR code, which I don't want you to scan just yet, but I want you to draw your attention to the vibrational energy chart. And this is a spectrum, and it's one of the most, emotions are complex, but this is one of the ones that we all kind of accept as we understand it. And you'll see shame is on the bottom, guilt. These are lower vibrational feelings. When we feel ourselves in these, those phrases you need to raise your vibration, you look at people, what are you talking about? This is probably what they're referencing. So if you're grieving or if you're fearful, right, raise your vibration. Ask yourself, what would it look like to try on one of those higher ones for just a moment? The peace, the joy, the love. There's this book that I've read, and it has this awesome reference. I'm gonna paraphrase because I don't remember exactly, but there's nothing wrong with the present moment unless we remember there's a reason for there to be something wrong with the present moment, because we're either thinking about the past and what happened and fearful that it's gonna happen again. It's a lot of fear. And also on the front end, if we're living in the future and we're like, what if this happens? And we're trying to make all these calculated things for something that we didn't even, we haven't even done yet. When we don't think about the past or the future, we just focus on the now, which is what we did a little bit at the beginning, just noticing, just being in your being. You can focus and try on, what would joy feel like in this moment? And actually tap into that emotion. And if you're able to hold it for at least 17 seconds, I actually heard this the other day. If you're able to hold it for at least 17 seconds, I want to try, I would encourage you to, whatever it is that you feel stuck on visualizing, try visualizing what it would look like from that space, not from the fear space. So yes, I feel like I'm running out of time. Yep. And I just want to briefly cover it. So the 3 surprising blocks of what we covered today are around emotional resistance in the body, rooted in the inner child. So notice where your inner child is screaming at you. Unconscious inherited agreements was block number 2. And then block number 3 was a misalignment with your energy, which you now have a tool to help you kind of combat. stuff that I love talking about, very much so, and I love getting to nerd out about human design. So there is a QR code for you to scan. I have a free community where every Tuesday we meet at 11 a.m. and we talk about, well, there's one part of that meeting that's recorded, and we talk about the energy that's in the environment, because your chart doesn't change, but because astrology and astronomy are part of the system of human design, as the planets move, we actually get temporary access to gifts, and we can either live in reaction to them because we don't know that they're happening, or we can be informed and live in the gift of whatever that energy is. So I talk about that every Tuesday. We start the meeting off with your wins. We end in gratitude so that you leave your day in a place of gratitude, which is a nice compliment to the 7:30 law of attraction. That is my time, most likely, and I hope to see all of you on Tuesday. Thank you.
Let's give her another round of applause. I know some of you have been stuck, starting businesses, you reach to a certain level, things just kind of flatline. You need something to push you over that hump. And that's what this studying the drip has helped us to remove some of those inhibitions. You're good. That was fun. That was good. That was good. You roll up your sleeve and get that with me. I like that. We talk theory all day, but I heard you did that. All right, I'm gonna bring up Miss Bernadette Clay. She is the facilitator, host, and the person who makes this possible. I've been honored to be with Mr. Clay for the past few years, working on this and other projects. And it's about collaborating. It's about aligning with like-minded people. And Ms. Clay, she's on a category by herself. She's supposed to have these three great locations. She's also a certified tax specialist, business coach, accountant, so many hats. But she's not selfish about it. She doesn't brag about it. She's down here doing the work with the people. And that's the kind of person we need in these times. So I'm just gonna let her come forth and talk a little bit about the law of attraction, but take as much time as you like. And let's give her a hand as she comes forward.
Do I need a mic? Good, thank you. So first I'd like to thank Mr. Gatewood, always a pleasure working with him. It's something that we decided to do. We started first Friday many years ago, that used to be in the evenings. And right after the pandemic, we decided it's time people come out again from Zooming. Been Zooming for a while. So we're back every first Friday at 11:30 to 1. And it's an opportunity for us to connect face to face. And as Diamond mentioned, and again, I want to thank you for the wonderful presentation. I have to call you. I know I've been putting it off.
Divine timing.
There we go. Thank you. But as she mentioned, we have this ongoing session every Thursday morning at 7:30 a.m. Two of the attendees are here. Been doing this for, over 10 years now. We started in 2014 in person, and then we went, via Zoom, and we meet from 7:30 to 9 a.m. every Thursday morning. What do? It's a group of business owners, or people who are thinking about starting a business. If you're thinking about starting a business and not sure, we have to take that step of faith, that leap of faith, because it is a big decision. Most of us, most business owners, were employees at some time. hire employees or consultants, and you're taking on all of these expenses and you're not sure how you're going to manage if clients aren't coming in. But what I've noticed on my journey, and I'm not going to take too much time, there was something missing when we started this entrepreneurial journey. There's a bigger power that we should tap into. Whenever I say that, I remember we're constantly tapping into, but it's how we tap into this greater power. Some people call it God, some people call it the universe, some people call it infinite intelligence. It could be just energy. This energy force that we are connected to that we cannot be separated from. We need it. We need to tap into that energy to build our businesses, and that's what we do on Thursday mornings. We tap into an energy source that can help us. Because, as Diamond said, our words, the things we say are spells. You called it spells. That's true. You speak life or death. That's in scripture. Death or life is in the power of the tongue. So if you didn't really grasp it or believe it, it is so true because she demonstrated that she said that she wanted a parking space right up front. She spoke it and she believed it. So there are tools and principles that we teach on Thursday mornings on how to really manifest consistently. Because it's what we want. We want to build successful businesses. It's okay to say, well, I'd like to start a business, but that's not enough. Anyone can start a business. You file the paperwork, the articles of organization at the state, open a bank account, get your federal ID number, not in that order, get the federal ID number first, and you're in business. Add this one word, successful. All day long, businesses are being opened. People are excited. Uber drivers, you're just doing a side hustle, that's a business. Do you want to build that to something more? Do you want to hire employees? Do you want to take it to the next level? Do you want to retire yourself? Do you want to retire your spouse? Do you want to take great vacations? Build a business. So I'd like to invite all of you, those of you who are not already participants, to our Thursday morning session. It's free. Again, it's business owners, so people who are considering would like to be a business owner, and to help starting, to help you change the mindset that you have to do everything, all the hard work yourself. And you do, but here's what the hard work is. Your beliefs, your thoughts, what you think about. You believing that, yes, I can build this multi-million-dollar business or multi-billion-dollar business. Because if you never thought that before, it cannot happen. If you doubt yourself, it cannot happen. Goes back to scripture. You cannot be double-minded. You cannot pray for one thing and believe it's not going to happen. So it's what we do on Thursday mornings. I would love for you to join because I believe everyone should know this. Because we're always tapping into this power that's available to us. But sometimes we tap into it in a way that's not serving us. That when we worry about something that we don't want to happen, we're bringing it to us. So we have to learn to turn off that worry and focus on the thing, the opposite. Because if you, again, going back to scripture, and I always say it's not a religious group, but I tend to go back to scripture to show examples. What did Job do? He worried about losing everything because he said the things I worried, feared the most has come upon me. It's worry. So when we worry, we're still attracting. So we talk a lot about monitoring what you think about the most because it's coming to you. Mr. Gatewood had mentioned that I am the founder and CEO of BLE Executive Suites. members of my staff. Blessing is doing such a great job, setting up for us. Dr. Charles, who helped us get the presenters in. And I'd like to now start, introduce yourselves, but I'll have this piece. But thanks again.
This is a networking opportunity. For the sake of time, I want everyone to like to know who's in the room. And give a quick introduction, and once we adjourn, you can pass out the card while you over chicken fingers. Wipe your hand off the grease off the card. And so we're going to take about 30 seconds to a minute, and for the sake of time, and like I say, if you want to get more into detail about what you do, you can do that after the adjourn. Let's start over here.
My name is Richard Chairman. I'm just here to wear my mom's business.
Oh, I love it. That is so special and so important that we train up a child, and you're not a child, but we set that example, really. My dad was a sharecropper. He started a small business. I was in that store at 8 years old, behind the counter, running the cash register. I did a terrible job, but the experience is what counts. Right here.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Charlotte Hugo, and my business is Map Technology, and we help some small businesses create custom solutions.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Robin Burgess. I'm the owner of DBR Big Transportation Services, where we're transporting the elderly, doctor's appointments, wherever they need to go, we're transporting.
Hello, everyone. My name is Athena Thomas. Speak up, sir. My business is the Life Calling Coach, and I focus on helping people discover their purpose. I am currently rebranding into Wellness and Mental Health Coaching.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
My name is DeAndre. I'm here to support a diamond, but I also am a representative of the Retreat Center who we're looking for facilitators who want to come out and put on a great experience with you guys.
Thank you for supporting Diamond. Thank you very much. Take the team effort sometimes, really. Make it work. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Laura Stewart. I am at the beginning stages of starting an HR consultant business because I was recently laid off. So
I love the fact that we're here. One of those reasons we network, resources, jobs, contracts, information. You are in the right place. Come back next time. Bring somebody with you. Thank you for coming back.
My name is Gordon Jerry. I'm the MRS tax software and refunds to go tax offices.
Thank you very much. We're working together. Appreciate you coming out. Thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Dina Caulfields with IEXDG. That stands for Incorporation Development Group. We're a leadership and organization development firm. We work with leaders such as yourselves at corporate, government, as well as educational sectors in helping them better communicate and connect to keep their workforce going in a manner where people will want to come to work and be successful. And we do that through our proprietary effective leadership culture code framework. It's amazing. You guys need to come by and speak with me about it. We can help change a whole lot in your workforce.
Thank you for coming.
Yes,
I think you came in late, so we will get everybody raising their hand who came in for the first time. How did you hear about us?
I came by to look at one of, an office.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I travel a great deal, and I said, why am I always leaving the DMV area, like with all my clients and all? Let me go ahead and try to set
Make it happen, this is the place, I'm telling you. Benefits innumerable. Thank you again. Right here.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rose. I'm just starting my business as an event planner. I've been putting that on hold for the past 20 years. After letting go at my job of 18 years, so I'm like, I think now it's time to just do it and done with it.
You know, we're on this planet, you ever heard of Maslow's hierarchy of needs? You start out here at the bottom, you gotta cover the basics, move up certain things, self-actualization, you get to what we put on this earth. You reach that pinnacle, you're at that point, let us help you take you to that next level. People like Diamond, Miss Clay, put all that energy together and success is gonna be yours. Right here.
Good afternoon, my name is Craig Howard, and I feel the energy is Women's Day.
Amen.
It's not gonna be my first time. My lovely wife Sophia, when we here for the first time, and I thank my wife for great day because I'm not gonna allow this to be my last time.
All right.
For me, I'm a project manager, dealing with breakdowns and setting events and shows and that nature over 20 years now. Also a personal trainer, a certified personal trainer. I help you guys reach your goals. My teachers on help us a lot. I've been doing that over 25 years now. And just to give you a little bit about myself, I brought my certified card, so whoever is interested in trying to reach your mark, trying to reach your goals and things in that nature, feel free to get a card. We can make this thing happen today.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sophia Goodrich Harvest, and I'm a multi-billion-dollar owner of a real estate brokerage called Goodrich Real Estate. I help everyone try to purchase real estate, either residential or commercial. If you're in need of any real estate, I'm the one.
Project, okay, the project.
Hi guys, so my name is Michelle Beckford. I just recently started with the financial services. Our business aims to just educate people on finances itself. We push to help people to retire in a safety home that, prevent them from running out of their income. So we just basically teach people about, tax strategies, and just help people earn extra income.
Right there.
I'm Sharon Glasgow. I partner with Michelle in Financial Services. I also am an at-home travel advisor.
All right, thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Lavita Weaver, and who am I? I'm a business development specialist with Prince George's Community Federal Credit Union. Does anyone want to know the #1 credit union in the county?
Yeah.
Prince George's Community Federal Credit Union. And I'm saying that because we offer accounts to help small business owners not just get started but to save money. We have free accounts, and we will help you with solutions to help you get your business started. And actually, I'm saying all this business stuff, and I'm stuttering. I normally don't stutter because I'm thinking about what you said about Miss Clay. And so this is in my brain. My mouth is trying to say something else, but I wrote down what you said, and this is what really in my head. You said doing the work with the people, and I get a chance to go out to so many events, and I see so many people talk about businesses and trying to help people. But Miss Clay, you are right. She's a rare gift in this community,
Yes.
and I just thank her for hosting these events. I thank her for encouraging all of us to move forward and ignite our passion for our businesses as well, which she's done for me. And Diamond, I don't know what to say about. Diamond can tell me anything and I'll believe her. Because her energy is so genuine, it's so real, it's so transparent. That if you told me I could eat all the fried chicken and not gain a pound, I would believe it. Because that's how much beautiful energy that comes from your presence. So I thank you guys for everything you have for all of us. Thank you.
I'm a board certified coach. I specialize in career coaching, specifically as it relates to mindset, do one-on-one coaching, group coaching, and my passion really is content creation.
Thank you. You good, too. You got one thing back there? Kim?
I'm collecting, hi everybody, I'm sorry. I'm collecting business cards and I do that, so if you're not here or someone has attended the meeting and they'll call and say, hey, there was a person that does web design or they did this, I can give them your information. So I'm kind of helping you network when you're not here. So I collect all this.
They'll be calling me. Oh, that's what the red dress on. Call Kim, you got it. Really? All right, thank you. All right, yes, sir.
Yeah, I just want to make a quick statement. The Bible says test the spirit by the spirit, right? And I see that I'm around some believers, and I feel the spirit. Thank God for you. Thank God for you. Thank God for you. Just keep believing in yourself. All things are possible through Christ, right? Sometimes we got to do the work. We got to get on out there and have that kind of attitude, that motivation, and encourage ourselves to do what we want to do to prosper in life. But always keep God first. He's the master plan. All right.
Close things out for us, Miss Clee. Give her a hand.
Again, I just want to thank all of you for coming out today. This is something that we will continue every first Friday except July. July 4th, the first Friday in July is July 4th. So we believe you will be enjoying the 4th of July with your family. So we will make an exception and meet on the 12th.
My birthday, yeah.
Your birthday? So we look forward to seeing you. 11th. The first Friday after the 4th, we'll be here again. And moving forward, it will continue resume being on the first Friday of every month. Again, we're here to support you, to help you, build you up, to take your next step, to either start the business or build your business, elevate, move to the top. And this is something that we do because we have this passion for business owners, for entrepreneurs, to be successful. So whatever we can do to help you, we bring in awesome people like Diamond, we bring in attorneys, we bring in financial planners, we had someone from the SBA. So we bring presenters that can help us in any way, funders, people who can help us with our credit. If the credit scores have been shaky, whether it's your personal or your business credit. So stay connected to us. We're here to help you. And it's free, and the free meal.
And is this where we meet on Thursday mornings as well?
No, Thursday mornings we meet via Zoom.
Oh, it's on Zoom?
Yes, so if you give your email address to Kim at the desk, any of you, if you would like to participate, I send an invite, the link, every Wednesday evening. So it'll be in your email, and feel free to join. It's like-minded individuals, has a lot of positive energy. Diamond is well, Sophia, yes, Cynthia. So please feel free to join us. Thank you again for coming out and spending this